Exactly good.
Coach, we're about a little over halfway through spring practice this year. What has been the progression so far in your mind in terms of getting that defensive back room together as a unit and progressing towards improvement?
I think that's a great question. It's a different coverage concept. We're putting guys and half-foot guys in different spots, so their comfortability is different. I think that's the first thing, is that they're learning to get comfortable with the scheme. Then they got to get comfortable with each other, right? Because you've got a bunch of new guys. I think the one thing that Coach Satterfield has done that I've never done before, and I think it's really made a difference, is we're not going by depth chart. We're going red and black, and guys are playing with different guys and having to get used to different guys and communicate with different guys. And I think that makes all of them better. So I don't think it makes it easy, but I think it is making all of them better.
When you heard three safeties, the middle safety is like a nickel, but you're going to put him in the middle of the field, what was your first impression of the Iowa State version of this defense?
Excited to learn it, right? I'm 62 and I'm learning a new defense. I came here a couple of years ago with Luke, and it was learning new defense. And that is very valuable to everybody. It keeps your mind sharp, keeps you intent on the game. There's a lot of ways to do things. There's a lot of carryover in coverage to some of the things that I have coached in the past at different places, and so there's some real benefit to that. But I'm very excited about learning new things and trying to figure out how do all these pieces fit in this system.
Have the old guys improved, and are the new guys better?
Yes and yes. And so what I would tell you is Jordan Young in particular has had a phenomenal spring. If you were to say this was last year's spring, this is this year's spring. And that's significant for us. Ormani Arnold has come in from Idaho, and he has had a very good spring. I'm very pleased with him. Kalen Carroll got hurt right away, and so I can't tell you I liked where he was prior to that. Then the rookies, those freshman kids are going to be very, very good players. They're raw, they don't know what they don't know yet, but they're going to be very good players. And that cluster of guys in that safety group, Kai and Derek and Minkins and Logan and I'm forgetting one. These new guys that we brought in right there, they are hard workers, they're disciplined, they're good communicators. So I'm really enjoying that. This world we're in is different now, right? You're having to learn. You don't develop relationships over 2 years like you do in recruiting. You develop them over 2 days, and then you have them. And so everything's being accelerated, and trying to learn them and them learn us in a very, very short period of time it's intriguing. It's a good thing for us. You have to learn to adjust, and I think we are.
They seem to take to you. Have you changed any in your style? I mean, you're still on the coffee a tad.
You notice that I'm a much kinder and gentler coach. I'm sure you've picked up on that. That's been a source of emphasis, an area of emphasis for me this spring. I would say that what I enjoy about these guys is that they've come here with a purpose, right? And I appreciate that. The portal kids, they chose here because of a specific purpose. The freshman kids, I recruited those guys for a long time. So Sanks and Zay and Willie and those guys, I've been recruiting them for a while. But these portal guys now, they chose to come here for a very specific reason. And so the development of that, I think, that's a lot of fun. And you can sense that from them. They're eager to get some stuff.
Looking back on that first year in the Big 12, was there anything that surprised you about the offense as you were expecting, and maybe something you're ready to adjust going into?
I would say there's great adjustments to be made across the board for us. I had not coached against a lot of Big 12 teams in my career. They universally use the width of the field more than teams in the Big 10 or more than the other teams that we played here prior to being in the Big 12. There's more vertical passing. There's a ton of motion and tempo, and so you do have to get used to it. And I think that was a huge learning curve for us last year. And I think that having been through it, and I think having Tyson having been there for a long time, that helps. So there's much better conversation about those teams now than there was last year at this time.
You brought up Jordan Young.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize last year was his first season playing boundary corner in college.
Right.
How much of an adjustment was that? And did you get what you wanted from him last season coming
I
into
would
this
say
year?
that he and I would both tell you we didn't get what we wanted. That's the most challenging position on the field, other than quarterback, in my opinion. To be able to go out there in the boundary and play corner is a very, very difficult and challenging thing. That's why a lot of those guys that I've coached have become NFL players and first rounders and those kind of things, because if you can do that, you can play for a long time and have a great career. But it's very hard to do that right away. And he had played nickel for the most part at Florida, and it was a need that we had. And so I think his learning curve last year, was very steep. I think this year it's much different. His communication and mine is much different. We're able to, it's not, we're not teaching, how to read, the ABCs. We're reading some better stuff. And because of that, I think that's really helping him, and our relationship continues to grow. We're continuing to build trust and all those things that are really important.
As you learn this defense, what do you like? What's it designed to take away?
It's so interesting, because on the face of it, when you look at it, you say, well, you got 3 down linemen and you've got these 3 guys back there at 10 yards, and you're trying to figure out, well, how are you stopping the run, right? That's the first thing that strikes me is, well, how are we stopping the run? And then all of a sudden, these guys are all running downhill from different angles, and I think it presents some issues for offenses regarding who am I blocking, how am I blocking, oh, they came from here this time, oh, they came from there that time. So I think there's some real benefit to that. I think that we're not anywhere near knowing the nuances of it after 7 practices, but I think that we have a chance to do that by the time the foot hits the ball in September and really have a good feel for it. When you drop 8 in coverage, you should be pretty decent in coverage, right? You've got to figure out how you're going to pressure the quarterback, how you're going to stop the run, how are you going to try to give that quarterback a different picture so he can't just stand back there. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to coach and tinker around with.
Any more for Coach?
Seen long pants, long sleeves. We've even seen
Yeah, I
ear
cover my
warmers.
ears, yeah.
Do you get colder now?
Very cold. So I've developed this thing called Raynaud syndrome, which I had no idea I had. But I'll look
and
down
toes.
and they'll be white, and it could be 50 degrees, and they're like white. And I went to the doctor. I said, "Hey, we got to fix this." He said, "Well, there is no fix." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Wear gloves." I mean, it's not what I'm used to. So I'm really struggling with that part of it. But I also
How
don't like
hard is it
being-
to dress warm?
I
Because you
hate
had
it.
shorts and t-shirts.
I absolutely hate it. It is the worst. And if I can figure out a way to get this up, so anybody watching, you got to and an answer for that. I'll take it. I hate it. I hate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
All right,
Coach.
guys.
Appreciate it.
All right.